The climb back out of the valley was quiet. The wind was the only noise to reach your ears, no words coming to pass between you and Joseph. Only the occasional meeting of the eyes when he looked to make sure you hadn't fallen behind. Those eyes, that face you had grown accustomed to, grown accustomed so quickly to, having at least the hint of a smile resting, was devoid of much emotion at all. He wasn't thinking about it, you felt. But to not think about it meant to not think at all. And so he didn't, his limbs carrying him up the path, but no one was home. You understood, of course. As much as you'd like to not think about it either, you couldn't ignore the small dread in your chest. Like it was in the cavities of your insides, seeping around and between your organs, a creeping tar. Not a suffocating tar, just making you feel heavy, dense. If you stopped walking now, you didn't know if you'd start again. The sun was starting to dip into the horizon when you reached your original meeting spot at the top of the cliff. Both your horses were lying in the long shadows of some rocky mounds, your own shadows stretching across the sand as you tend to them. You both hauled your bedrolls off and started to unpack them, giving the horses some water, and sorting through your belongings. Still without a word, a camp for the night quickly formed between you as you worked. Joseph had brought a thin metal stand with him to hang the cooking pot over, and gently tossed you his book of matches as he erected it. You struck the match in a familiar fashion, placing it in the middle of the dried assortment, blowing gently to encourage the shy flame.
Go on. You can do it, Flame.
Come out. You come out now. Lifting your head back up from the budding fire, Joseph was having a little issue getting his stand to, well, stand. His face was still the same neutral, empty face from before, and you noticed a little catch on a joint that hadn't flipped properly. You brought your hand up to flick it out of the way. Either the lurch of the stand falling into place or the momentary touch of your hand against his seemed to jolt Joseph out of his listless state.
I said, thank you.
A smile, just a small one, a weary and wary one, had returned to his face. You were glad to see it again. It was enough to make your chest a little lighter, the tar receding just a touch. With the fire lit, a modest plume of smoke started billowing into the sky and scattering in the fading sunlight. Joseph got up momentarily to rummage in one of his saddlebags, coming back with a tin and some bundled cloth.
I've got some, beans. Some salted pork, too. Not sure what you got with you.
Oh, right, yeah. Hold on. You had plenty of water still, and if he was propping up the bulk of the meal, you had some molasses to add, too. Beans and molasses.
Beans, salted pork, and molasses, and water.
Yummy. Yeah, for the molasses. You brought them both over and let Joseph, sitting on his bedroll he'd laid out now, take the reins. Wasn't really a two-person job. With the beans
your meal has 1/3 of the daily vitamins that you need and 800% of the salt that you need.
Yeah. That's how the West was, and everyone died at 27. The end.
Yeah.
With the beans gently cooking away now in the pot, he sat there, lazily stirring it with a spoon. You grabbed your bedroll and laid it out on the opposite side of the fire, squatting and dropping onto it with a thud, tucking your legs towards you. Resting your head on your knees, holding them in your arms. Well, this is cozy. We only have to accept that everyone hates us now. Everyone hated us before, but we met new people we liked, and now they don't like us. And that hurts more.
Yeah.
This Is it a floating can?
No, it's
like the hats.
accelerating upwards on a fart cloud.
It's accelerating directly at the camera.
Yeah.
The two of you sat like this for a short while, watching the pot steaming away, the orange flames licking the underside of the well-used metal. You found yourself thinking about what happened to Clemency without even realizing. The pang you felt in your stomach when Sheriff knew why you were there. The sharp chill that shot from your neck to your tail when the gun was pulled on you. You weren't scared of being shot, that wasn't it. That wasn't what set your palm into a cold sweat. It was something else. Something about having to leave that town. Sorry for letting you do so much of the talking today. I'm more the quiet type. Sure you figured that out already? He flashed you a weak but genuine smile.
Not like God did us much good.
It wasn't your fault, Joseph. Sheriff was paranoid, and we were bound to be rumbled eventually. Besides, it doesn't really seem like there is any gold there. Unless we feel like setting up a new mining operation.
Yup. I'm sure Black Vulture will love to hear that. Wasn't my fault, I'll say.
He sighed, a sharp, exasperated exhale through his nose holes. One knee of his crossed legs fidgeting and bouncing as he stirred the pot. You were a little taken aback that he seemed to be mocking what you said. Maybe it just wasn't what he wanted to hear right now. Still, you understood his frustration. What would your bosses think if we told them what this place was like? Would they even believe us?
Sorry.
You were snapped from your thoughts by his apology, a slightly guilty look on his face, knowing he must have seen that he hurt your feelings a little.
You're right. It's not my fault exactly, but... oh, hell. This is a mess, Robin.
His fidgeting was spreading, playing across the feathered fingers of his wings, his face, his eyes, his knees again. Like a ragtime tune was playing all across the inside of his body. Hello, my honey. Hello, my... What's he like, Black Vulture?
He's a Black Vulture.
Damn.
He's,
His breathing was ragged, too. You got onto your knees and reached your hand onto his that was stirring the spoon even now. A gentle but firm grasp stopping its motions. Let it burn. Your eyes met over the cooking pot. He looked like he was seeing you again for the first time in a long time. The shaking in his hand came to rest and relax its vice grip on the long spoon as you held each other's gaze. Let go. I'm here. It's all right. He nodded a few times, taking his hand away and resting on his haunches, stretching his legs out. A few moments passed as Joseph regained his calm, laid-back demeanor, one leg still bouncing a little, a quick rhythm, tapping a dance hall tune, which is different from ragtime. I don't know if it's better or worse. Goodbye, horse's face. You think they know any horse people?
I don't know. And, I'm afraid to ask these things when it comes to furry stories.
The sun was almost gone now, the last dregs of its light in the desert turning everything in the distance a single dusty red. You could see the stars now as you looked to the sky, the light continuing to fade. More and more points of light dotting their way to the east. I was just having the thought that, like, I'm always like, oh, that's not a big deal. When people talk about, like, the goofy paradox, I'm like, it's not a paradox. like Goofy and Pluto existing at the same time as a dog man and a dog is just like how a human and a chimp both exist, essentially. But then I remember I did make basically the same joke in my visual novel where I have the kid see like a marten exhibit in the zoo when he's the protagonist as a kid, and like his like I got this dumb picture of the protagonist as a small child being brought to tears because he saw the exhibit of like the non-anthro version of the animal he is, basically. And it really ended up upsetting him as a kid. It's so dumb.
I was just thinking earlier when it was like the traders were bringing furs. I was like, whose
furs?
I was like, whose furs, and was it ethically sourced? I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's always a thing where you have the question of what you're going to think about it. I literally just I just recorded a Let's Drive a game called Grimshire, which is like furry Stardew Valley.
Oh yeah.
But
it's weird.
You can raise livestock in that game.
Yeah. And
all the livestock, their solution, it's all made up animals.
Oh.
It's like, oh yeah, you got a flurple. I'm like, what? It's like they just sidestepped entirely the question of like cow people or whatever. So I'm like, huh, okay. That's an option.
That doesn't really work though, because there's still an animal. So the next step is, why is there no flurple?
They're just none of the animal people. I mean, we're animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Checkmate, vegan.
I don't know what point I was making.
You turned your eyes away from the sky when you heard the sound of a pen knife flicking open.
It's Sheriff. Oh, don't mind me none. Just doing a little preening.
He started taking the knife gently to his wing, very gently. He seemed to be scraping away older feathers, while also opening new pin feathers scattered across the wing, in motions almost like shaving.
Uh-huh.
New pin feathers. Forgive me if I'm talking out of line, but why don't you use your beak for that?
What, like an animal? Ah, well, Mom always told us you don't use your beak for things around anyone other than family or lovers. It ain't polite.
He seemed a little sheepish admitting it, like it was an uncommon quirk of his family.
You asked about Black Vulture, yeah? Don't you know the stories already?
Yeah, but those are just stories. I wonder what it's like riding with someone with a few tall tails trailing behind them. I know what it's like.
There you go.
Joseph snored a little, still making his way across the wing with his small knife. I mean, perfectly average knife.
Yep, that sounds about right. Pretty sure some of the more flattering ones I've heard were left behind by the vulture himself.
You settled on the side of your legs a little, getting more comfortable as you kept stirring the ever-cooking pot.
Where to begin with the man himself? Jeez. He's a real piece of work, that one. I can tell you that much for sure. He's a city slicker that considers himself a cowboy, even though he hates getting his boots dirty. Acts all gentlemanlike and such, a real flannel mouth. He'd charm the pants off you if you had something he wanted, like your pants.
Pretty much just the one thing, actually.
Then when he's got what he wants...
He jabbed the knife towards you pointedly, the only way a knife can be jabbed.
He jabbed the knife towards you handedly?
Handedly?
He'd stick you in the back and twist it hard to hear you cry.
He turned the knife back to preening.
He's a terrible shot, too. There are some stories that he could shoot the cap off a bottle without spilling it from 50 paces.
That's not what I thought terrible shot meant.
But they're just stories, is the next slide. But he ain't the sharpshooter. Never. He's almost as bad a shot as me. Got someone else for that. Me. See, that's how you run in his posse. You make yourself indispensable. Indispensable is probably what they meant. You would use periods, not commas, but I don't know. They also spell everything with a U, so I'm going to assume that maybe it could just be a different punctuation standard. I don't know.
He tapped his knife on the ground through the word to make his point.
His gang is on the smaller side, but they're plenty loyal. They need to be. There can't be anyone else.
You're loyal then?
I'm the eyes. I'm useful. I get on good with a lot of them, and Black Vulture keeps me around. Win.
You understood what he was saying, what he meant, what he really wanted to say. You understood how it felt to be under that kind of looming shadow. No one for miles around, but don't say anything, just in case. You've seen what happens to other people. You both had, for sure. Joseph was as far from a greenhorn as could be. He swapped hands and started the knife on his other wing now.
So what about Curly Wolf? You said there were plenty of tall tales about him. Split fair with me.
You didn't look at him when he asked you. You kept looking at the pot, peeking over to check the beans. This looks about done to me. Joseph stared at you for a moment when you did meet his eyes, and then closed up his knife, kneeling over with an approving whistle.
Yeah, looks nice to me.
You laughed a little as his stomach gave a hearty growl, fetching the bowls and holding them while Joseph served you a big, slopping portion. Night had come now, and you both had gathered a little closer around the fire and moved the pot stand to the side. You could see him easier now, with it out of the way. With the pot lifted, the fire rose, dancing in the wind, sometimes hazing your view. The blur flitting in and out as you glanced eyes while you ate.
No matter where you sat, the smoke got in your face. You went to the other side, still there, directly in your eyeballs somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, but I ain't the cookie back at camp. Someone else got that privilege.
He was clearly joking, but the beans were some of the better you'd had. I never would have guessed. I don't cook that often, but I make some mean donuts from time to time.
Oh, do you now? I'll have to try them then.
I hope so. It was so selfish to ignore his question, say nothing about Curly Wolf. So rude of you. You weren't raised like this. You couldn't, though. Never. Or more like you didn't know what to say. How many years had it been now? Sorry, I should have said something when you asked about my boss. I
get it.
No, I mean, of course you do, but it's also that when I said I was the quiet type, it's more than that. If I'm shooting straight with you, I don't remember the last time I heard my own voice before today. At the camp, I might say yeah or no, but I don't really talk. And when I'm away on a lookout, there's just no one to talk to. I don't want to talk to myself and just be reminded I'm alone. I've never talked about him. I wouldn't. Joseph looked straight at you, even into you, it almost felt like. You could see the fire between you and his eyes, flames fluttering across the irises. The intensity of his look gave way to something like relief.
Nah, don't worry about being a quiet one. I think it's part of your charm. There are lots of wannabe tough guys who want to act like you with no sweat. That strong, silent act. Besides, guys back home are always telling me to shut up. Not that I gave them the satisfaction.
I can tell you that being quiet doesn't change things. Same horseshit regardless of whether you make a fuss. You sighed. A long sigh. What words could you even use for a man like him? Curly Wolf is a bad egg.
Damn.
I think sometimes he was born like that. Bad fertilized egg. I know it couldn't have been, but I don't know what godforsaken things happened to him to turn him into what he is. He's probably the meanest, roughest bastard you'll ever have the misfortune of meeting. Anyone you can think of that you wouldn't want to run into, he's worse than that. I don't know about Black Vulture, but the stories Curly Wolf leaves behind, I don't think they even match up to how dangerous he is. I've seen him gun down traitors riding away on horseback 200 paces away. It's easy to get his dander up, and he's the last person you'd ever want to do that to. He'd make sure of that. Not the brightest you'd ever meet, but his instincts are keen. He's never made an empty threat, and he'll happily get his hands dirty to make good on them.
Well, shit. Black Vulture said before he'd be willing to pick a fight with Curly Wolf, but they've never met. Now I'm wondering if he has any idea what that would get him into. He ain't stupid, but he's definitely too cocky for his own good. Oh, eat your bowl before it gets cold. Nothing worse than cold food.
You did as he said, mulling over what you talked about while you ate. Joseph had had a head start on you, but even so, his eating was voracious, and he finished before you were even halfway through yours. He sat back from his hunch over the bowl, wiping his beak on his arm. He looked around some, into the fire, out into the darkness of the desert, at you. You could tell he didn't want to stare, but his eyes took you in anyway, with long glances. He coughed, clearing his throat to stall for the words he was thinking of.
Say, Robin, I wanted to ask.
He grabbed his knife again, taking it to his wing once more, looking away as he asked a common question. What are pin feathers? That's not his question.
I assume they're like baby feathers, but wait. But baby teeth don't grow into... That's backwards. Okay, whatever. Pin teeth.
Pin teeth? I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that sentence.
Well, you have to prune your pin teeth or whatever. You have to preen it, sorry.
It's just my brain's like, it's like an ingrown feather. It's like, ugh.
Oh, God, but a tooth. I don't want an ingrown tooth.
Those are called wisdom teeth.
Yeah, well, I got rid of them all.
Good for you.
And do it again in a heartbeat.
Takes longer than that.
Yeah. Like your arm. I hope you don't think me cruel for asking, but what happened? Did he do that to you?
You were pretty used to questions about it, but you appreciated the genuine warmth behind his words at least. This old thing. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It was a practical joke of sorts.
Oh, God.
If you'd call it that. By some of the guys during a camp.
Okay.
Took my bandana and shoved it in the mouth of one of the horses. Egged me on, like, to get it back. Reached my hand in, and of course the hoss gets all antsy and bites down. Starts thrashing, trying to get away. I don't remember much after that. Blacked out from the pain. Next thing I know, I'm being hauled to some doctor. Told me they had to amputate for it, putrefied. Oh, Jesus Christ. Joseph had stopped preening at this point, looking at you with some real watery eyes and a soft expression on his brow of both anger and horror. Got the bandana back, so, you know, win some, lose some. Jesus.
Oh my god. That's a horrifying story.
Yeah,
Ugh.
what? Ugh.
I'm sorry.
Nothing to be sorry for. Long time ago. You just live with it.
Uh-huh.
Full and finished, you set aside your bowl, taking another appraisal of your surroundings, looking up to the sky and its carpet of stars. It was quickly starting to get cold, so you got up and went to your horses, fishing some blankets out for them. Looking inside the bag, you couldn't find your usual extra blanket for yourself. Shit. Must have forgotten to take it before you left.
How are we gonna stay warm tonight?
Oh no! Guess we're just gonna have to have a bean cuddle. You spied your binoculars.
Wrap yourself up in my pin feathers or not. I'm not sure.
Get pinned by my feathers. You spied your binoculars in there. You took them and walked to the edge of the cliff again. You're about to put them up to your eyes when you realized you didn't need them to see what was happening in Clemency. The whole town was dark, except for the bright lights prominently shining from the saloon.
I thought that was setting up that like the town was gonna be on
like
fire.
It's on fire,
like
yeah.
Like the gang was attacking already.
Upsetting.
Yeah.
You saw the shallow silhouettes of people dancing play out across the street in front. And if you listen very closely, music.
Seems like they're having a rip-roaring time.
Yeah. I wondered if they would do it. I wonder if they would do it tonight, like Bartholomew mentioned.
Why wouldn't they? What have they got to be worried about?
His voice was a little cold, blunt. Ice cubes in a drink bumping your teeth as you sip.
No.
You know, out of all the towns I've been kicked out of and run out of, this is the only one I'd want to come back to.
Was ice even invented in this era?
Invented?
I speak in jest. This place ain't for us. Although now I'm curious. Like, when did people start to be able to make ice?
They don't have refrigeration, I don't think. But
yeah, that's what
ice
I'm getting
exists. You shipped it.
From where? The North Pole, but it's gonna melt.
You ship it from the ice, yeah. It's a rich people thing.
Okay. We're trouble, Robin. We're no good for these folks.
Amusingly, I was watching the Gay Dogs show a few months ago, and it's like one of the first...
excuse me? What?
There's a French 3D cartoon called Belfort and Lupin that is just notorious in furry circles for being extremely gay looking. Like, it just really seems like they're boyfriends. Like, it's just, there's too many moments every single episode at some point where you're like, damn, all right. But like the first or second episode already was about ice shipments, because it's set during like royal France or whatever. That's not an era.
Yeah, it was. Little known fact, France had a monarchy for a little while there.
Yeah, but that's not a name of an era.
Yeah, true.
But it's one of them is like the king's dog, and so it's like, and the other one's like it's like Lady and the Tramp. Like one of them's the tramp that sneaks on the property and like takes them out of their element and stuff like that. But they're surrounded by like insane opulence, but it's opulence that's like mundane by modern standards. Like there's a zoo and ice.
Well, it seems like ice trading was started in the early 1800s, at least in the United States. And
Damn.
yeah, natural ice harvesting would thrive for decades, and the first ice making machine was invented in the 1840s.
They might have ice in some parts of, not here.
Yeah.
I don't know what year it is, but I mean like on the East Coast where there's towns and cities and shit. In the middle here is that was always the trippy thing about the Red Dead Redemption games is how they juxtapose the Wild West and how like just right over there is just like a city. You're like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, whoa, right? These are contemporary. There is no like mythical. There's no mythical era of America where the whole country was just like cowboys or something. That's never happened.
Tomorrow we'll be gone. We'll tell our bosses we didn't find anything, and if we're lucky, they'll just go on their way. Maybe in another life, we could have gone back there. It would have been nice. But this is our life. Our only one. It is what it is. We move on. That's how we live.